So, Dr. Jeffrey Lang, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and profession?
Well, I'm a professor of mathematics.
Mathematics.
Professor of mathematics at the University of Kansas.
Doctor of Math.
Yes.
Yes.
In Lawrence, Kansas.
Okay, good. How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been a professor since I was 28, so that would be, 27. So that would be 26 years.
26 years. We brought you on the show because we're interested. We want to know your story, why you chose this beautiful way of life of Islam. But before that, you tell us a little about your history. You were born in America, in the States?
Yes.
Yeah.
1954.
1954.
Yes.
All right, long time.
Yes.
Yeah. So what way of
It's
life?
not that long. I'm not ready for the grave necessarily.
No, you look quite young. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the first time I saw you, this was maybe like 5 years ago. Yeah, you don't look like you aged day 6.
Oh, that's good. Well, let's hope it keeps on.
So tell us, the viewers, because you see, nowadays, Islam, there's a stigma attached to it. So now, someone as bright as yourself, who's a doctor, who is an intellectual, for someone who is afraid of Islam, who doesn't understand Islam, they want to know, why would this man choose Islam as his way of life?
Oh, well, I was an atheist before becoming a Muslim.
You didn't believe in God?
I didn't believe in God.
Were you born into a family of atheists? Or?
No. I grew up in a Roman Catholic family. I went to Catholic school my entire life, from first grade to senior high in high school. And my mother was very, very devout. My wonderful woman, wonderful believer, very extremely charitable. My father, he believed very much in God and in the Catholic Church, but he had a terrible drinking problem. He was an alcoholic and he was very violent. So at an early stage in my life, living with a nightmare of my father's violence, and the target of that violence was usually my mother. And I remember praying when I was a little kid in bed, night after night, please take my father out of our lives. Stop this unending nightmare.
The guy, it was that bad?
It was that bad. I thought he was going to kill her. I thought I'd wake up in the morning and not find her there. Of course, I'm a young kid at the time, 8, 9, 10. As you grow older, you realize, this has happened many times. She'll survive. But, it leaves very deep scars. So when I was 16, it created in me doubts about the existence of God. Why would God, this loving God, expose my mother to lifelong torment and torture? What sin did she commit to deserve this? Why would he let the strong oppress the weak? Why would he create us to experience such violence and suffering in this way?
There's nothing wrong with wanting to know the answers to these questions. It's natural.
Of course not. It is natural, especially when you're living with them daily. So doubts about the existence of God crept in early in my life. And they only got accentuated as I grew older, and we experienced the Vietnam War, experienced the race riots in cities like mine of the 60s, the assassinations of political leaders was rampant, or at least it seemed that way at that time. Heroes like John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King get gunned down, to replaced by the most corrupt rulers that we thought. So, why would God make it this way? The question, which was rooted in my childhood experience, grew as I got older. So when I was 16, since I could never find really, even though I was in Catholic school all of my life, and this is nothing against the Catholics, even though I couldn't find coherent and cogent answers to those questions, 16, I became an atheist.
Yeah. Was that hard? Were you just got used to dealing with it, or?
Well, yeah, I got used to, and I never really had to get used to dealing with it. Surprisingly, my life went pretty smooth after I became an atheist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went away to college, got away from the family.
I see.
Was married, when I was around 21. The marriage didn't last, but it was a peaceful marriage.
Yeah.
It lasted a couple of years. I was very successful at school. Went to graduate school. Yeah. Did well there. So nothing really went badly, and but I assumed that if something did go badly, that was just one of the accidents of life.
So where the shift now? If everything was going smooth, you're going to school, then how the shift? Why the shift?
Oh.
From being an atheist to now discovering this way of life, Islam. Yeah. How did this turning point happen?
Well, when I finished graduate school, at Purdue University, not too far from here, I went to my first teaching job, which was at the University of San Francisco. And there I met some Muslims, a nice family. They sort of adopted me and vice versa.
Yeah.
And I used to discuss these issues and these questions with them. And they had a very difficult time answering them.
Yeah.
And so one day, they gave me a copy of the Quran as a present. A little bit of a surprise. You know, I read the first surah, which essentially is a prayer for guidance, and you don't sort of realize it till you're done.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit of a, you know, I thought the author was clever.
It's a very short surah. Can you, for our viewers who aren't Muslim, can you just, the 7 verses,
Yes.
can you translate them in English?
Yes, it goes basically like this. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate.
So 1, it says the most merciful, the most compassionate.
Right.
This is deep.
Right.
Because we as human beings think sometimes, you know, we're merciful, you know, this guy's such a, this is the most merciful.
Right.
Go on.
So right away, emphasis on mercy and compassion. And then it says, all praise be to God, more or less ruler of all worlds.
The king.
Of all realms.
The one who's running the show.
Yes, of all that exists.
Yes.
The most merciful, the most
Again,
compassionate.
reminding, again, the most merciful, most compassionate.
Yeah. Praise be to God. Show us the straight path.
Yes.
You alone we pray to, and you alone we seek help from.
You alone do we pray to. Praying to God alone, none of His creation, to Him directly. Direct
Right.
connection.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the next verse is show us the straight path.
But Master of the Day of Judgment.
Oh, Master of the Day of
Master,
Judgment.
that there is a day of judgment, that we're going to be
Right.
accountable for all of our actions.
Right.
And now,
Now that part bothered me a little bit, Master of the Day of Judgment. I thought, now I'm coming back. You know, the emphasis on
Yes.
mercy and compassion is nice. Master of the Day of Judgment, okay, I think of punishment.
yeah.
And then I think, okay, He creates us with all these flaws, and then He punishes us for having them. You know, so, you know, I was a little put off by that.
Yeah.
And then show us the straight path,
Yeah.
you know, the path of those whom You have favored, not those who have gone astray,
Yes.
or upon whom is violence or wrath.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then you went on to...
So it was very interesting. It starts out like a hymn of praise, like a psalm,
Yeah.
and it slips into being a prayer for guidance at the end.
Yeah.
So I thought the author was very clever, because he sort of tricked me into making this prayer for guidance, even though I didn't
Before you even started to go into the book. Yeah.
Right, or I didn't believe in God. Then you come to the next surah, and it begins Aleph, Lam, Mim, 3 Arabic letters, and then it says, that is the book, literally. That is the book, wherein no doubt is the guidance.
Yeah. No doubt in this book.
Yeah, well, it seems to be saying that, you know, this prayer you just made, this is your answer.
Yeah.
You know? So I thought the author had a very compelling style of writing.
Yeah.
And he sort of engages you in a sort of an intellectual conversation. So I, you know, as I was reading the Quran, I was appreciating the author's, let's say, literary genius. You know, even though I didn't know who the author was, and I definitely assumed it wasn't divinely inspired.
Uh-huh.
And then I come to the 30th verse of the 2nd surah or chapter. And it says, behold, your Lord said to the angels. So it's a heavenly announcement. I'm about to put a vicegerent on earth. The Arabic word was khalifa. I'm about to put a vicegerent of mine, a viceroy, one who acts in behalf of another or represents another.
Yeah.
So it's a heavenly election. I'm about to put a vice